Are you tired of being underwhelmed by your thumbnails and your ability to make them? Is your background not good enough for a YouTube thumbnail? Well, fear not, because I'm going to show you how to turn this terrible background photo into an actually serviceable thumbnail that can actually work for your channel, and you can be able to do it in under 30 minutes. Now, this video is just for beginners, but if you're looking for more advanced thumbnail techniques, not only have I created a whole course on how to do YouTube from start to finish, but I've also created as a bonus advanced thumbnail design and strategy. This is the first one that I will be teaching you guys, and it just got 2,400 views in the first 24 hours on my uncle's channel and about almost 200 hours worth of watch time. This thumbnail is definitely a winner. It definitely works, and I'll be teaching it to you guys. Click the link in the description. All right, guys, now let's actually make the thumbnail. All right, so I'm gonna go to new file, and in YouTube, the thumbnails are 12 by 80, 720. So I've already had this created, but if you don't have it, you'll be able to go over here with the preset details and hit 1280, 720, and you can just set it to a white background because we're going to be bringing in our own photos, right? So we're going to go to create. Now, as we've seen, I've already taken my photos, so I go to file and open, and I'm going to bring this over here so I can show you guys, but I have it organized so everywhere that I keep my expressions, that's the wrong one. And so scroll down to my folders. We're going to see, where is it? Raw Me Pictures. And these are the photos that I took with my phone yesterday. So I'm actually going to highlight them all and bring them all in. Now I have all of these different photos. I don't want that one. I want this one. That one's not as good. Well, I think I'm going to go with this one. Get rid of that one. So, step one, okay, we got to understand what it is that we're doing here, obviously. And so, just going to make sure that this is all so that you can see everything. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you're going to have to unlock this photo. And so you unlock it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to copy, just edit and copy, and we're going to go to our new thumbnail layer. You're going to hit edit and paste, all right? So now this is a very high resolution photo, which is great. So now we can grab the corners and drag it in and reposition it. Come on. Just bring it over, and then you just keep grabbing it and dragging it down, and then grabbing it until you have it more or less in the position that you want. And the great thing about this is that when you have a lot of extra space, you can sort of pull everything out so that everything kind of fits nicely into the thumbnail frame. And so I don't have to worry about having a big gap over here because I can grab it and pull it out a bit more, and it will all sort of fit nicely into there. And so now what I have is a nice photo of me pointing at where there will soon be text. Now, something really important to understand is that you might not have the best control of your lighting. And so you might want to make adjustments to your face, and you might want to have different lighting adjustments in the background. So what we can actually do is we can actually do a little trick I'm going to show you where we actually create more depth and nuance to the photo with some very, very easy tricks. And so basically right click and on the layer that you've just made, and that is duplicate layer. I'm going to hit OK. And now I have a duplicated layer. Now, you go to the top layer, which is layer copy, click on it, and then go over to the left over here, and you're going to find object selection tool. Now, what this tool does is it will select objects for you. Click on yourself, and what this does is it now makes a selection of you. Now, you want to do this after you have yourself centered in the right place, or at the very least you have brought it in slightly smaller so that you can expand it and make adjustments later, because it only selects what is visible, right? Now, if it makes an improper selection, what you can do is go to select and go down to edit in quick mask mode. What that will allow you to do is actually go over to zoom in, and see, it has actually failed to select certain parts of my head here. And so that will come through and it'll look like there are these random, spots on my head. So what I can do is I can actually take my paintbrush tool and make sure that all of the edges of my person, of me, I guess, are properly selected. And I can manually adjust with the paintbrush. I can manually adjust everything that is selected so that even if the AI makes a mistake, I can still have a relatively smooth connection. Okay, I like what it did with my beard here. That's all pretty good. It's accurate on my shoulders, and that's pretty good. Lost a little bit of my ear. I can bring that back. And for the most part, this is going to be very, very good once it is, zoomed out. So I can go back to the zoom out, the little magnifying glass down here, hit the negative and zoom back out. This is a much better, more solid connection. I can feather it and make any sort of alterations that I want. And so now we're going to basically uncheck the edit in quick mask mode. And so now it's back to normal. What we can do now, and I'm going to get rid of the first layer, is you go to select and you select inverse. And now you just hit delete on your keyboard. And now it has deleted everything else outside of you. What's great about this is now you can do like photo adjustments to yourself without changing the background. And so now I go up to select and press deselect. And now I can make alterations to each layer individually, the background and the front. Oh, and by the way, if you click on your front, the second layer, the copy layer, and move yourself around, it's going to do this, right? You don't want to do that. If you want to make adjustments and change them and keep them both synced together, all you have to do is notice over here on the right where it's selected, hit shift, and you can select the background layer as well. So now both are selected, and I can now make adjustments to both of them, and they are both in sync. Very, very useful. And just so you don't get tripped up on that, if once you create both layers, you're going to have to make sure that when you move them, they're both in sync, or else you're going to have different, or else it's going to look like I just showed you, and that's not really good. So now what we can do is we can edit the background. So if we select the background, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to do it two ways. I'm going to show you the easiest way, and I'm going to show you a slightly more advanced trick that will help you make more nuanced decisions with your video photo editing. So you're going to go up, as long as you have the background layer selected, we're going to go up to filter. I'm going to go down to camera raw filter, and this was going to bring up the first layer. Now don't worry about it editing me in this photo, because I have another picture of me layered on top of that will take care of all of that. So what if I want the background to be more saturated, I can do that. I don't really want it that saturated though. If I feel like the background is too bright, I can lower the exposure, I can increase it. So I'm actually going to decrease the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast, increase a bit of the highlights. I'm going to increase the shadows, increase the whites, increase the blacks just a little bit. And I also feel like it's a bit too yellow. I would have preferred my camera bring in a bit more of the cooler tones of the room. And so I can go to temperature right here and slide it a little bit more towards the blue. Now, if I slide it all the way, it's going to be very, very blue. But this is an easy way for you to sort of, compensate temperature-wise. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with it because then it becomes blatant, but you can make some slight adjustments here. And so this is where it's at. Normally, I can bring it down just a little bit. I think -8 is pretty nice. It's not too blatant. And so you can remove all the texture and then you can increase textures as well. And so I'm going to leave texture right where it is because this is a background. It doesn't need to be that big of a deal. But what's also interesting is you have things like dehaze where I can make it hazier or I can make it like very, very, very non-hazy. So depending on the kind of background you have, you might want to blur it or make it stand out just a little bit more. I tend to not worry about this too much. We're going to get into sharpening and noise reduction in a little bit because that's going to play a huge role in what we do on our face. So for the background, typically I just want to adjust the lighting a little bit, adjust the temperature, maybe bring up the vibrance a little bit, and maybe get rid of some of the green tint and move just a little bit towards magenta. And now, as you can see, the background is slightly changed. It's a bit more contrast. It's a bit sharper. The colors pop just a little bit more. But it has not changed my face because I made the second layer. See, if I turn off the view on the second layer, you can see that it has made additions to my face. But this is what it was like before. And so now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my second layer. And I'm going to show you guys, if you go down here to the right here, and just notice you can't quite see it. If you go down to the little circle bit here, you're going to have these options for brightness and contrast, levels, exposure, etc. You want to add these in, but this will adjust the entirety of your photo. You don't want that. You want to make specific adjustments to your face. So we're going to hold Option on a Mac and click. And so now it's locked to my face. So when I click it and go up here, it's only changing my face. And so now I can make my face a little bit brighter and have a bit more contrast, making it stand out more from the background of my room. And we can make another addition. We can add some levels. And again, hold Option and anchor it down. That way, when I reduce the levels and brighten it up, it's only adjusting my face. I can bring it in and make my shirt and crush the blacks. We don't want to go too far. So I'm going to bring the black level in, make it a bit darker, but I don't want to lose the light tones on my shirt. And I just figured I can zoom in a bit and let you guys see this change happen a bit more. Not that much. And so when I'm adjusting the levels, it'll change the way my face is perceived and the way my shirt is perceived. I can dial this back and make the highlights a little bit higher. Nothing much too crazy, but now we can see that it's definitely popping from the background a bit more. I did a little bit of work to darken the background, and then I've done some work to make my face shine a bit more. We're going to add some hue and saturation. Again, hit Option, down, and we're going to increase the saturation, not by too much, but we're going to increase it just a little bit. And then what we can do is we can go to exposure and bring that in. I will increase exposure just a tiny bit. But so far, I think this is going really, really good. So that's another advanced technique that you can use. Now, I'm not, and this is where you're going to have to start paying attention to like beard hair. If you have like hair on your neck, you might want to shave that a little bit further because it can definitely come through in this photo and just sort of adjust and be something that you have to think about. And so now, once again, I'm going to go over and select this layer and go up to filter, and I'm actually going to reduce some of the texture in my face. I want it to be very simple, very clean. I'm not going to mess with exposure, contrast, and highlights because I've already adjusted that. But in terms of texture, I can reduce texture, I can increase it. I'm actually going to bring the texture down a little bit, but I'm going to increase the clarity to get just a bit more sharpness in the lines on my face so that they're very clearly seen and visible on YouTube. Because remember, people tend to watch YouTube on their phones a lot, right? And so I'm going to increase the clarity a little bit. Now this is where it gets really cool. We can do noise reduction. This will smooth out a lot of my face. Now, if you do too much, it will make it look really cartoony. It's up to you. You know, Mr. Beast has it looking really cartoony. It's kind of up to you how you want it to look. I'm going to go medium. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. Do a bit more sharpening so that some of the contrast in my face sticks out. But generally, I'm going to have some noise reduction and some color noise reduction. I'm going to add that. And once we add that to what we already had, now you can see my face is a lot smoother. It stands out more and it sticks out a lot better from the background, right? And of course, if I want to make adjustments, because the Camera Raw filter, that's destructive. So you can't just go back and change that now, right? But what I can do with these ones that I added, I can always come back up and make adjustments and change it a little bit. If I want it a little bit brighter, it's a little bit brighter. And that's very, very, very useful. A bit more advanced, takes a bit more time, but it's a lot more useful. Now, another tip you can do to create some distance between yourself and your background is right-click on this layer here, right-click on it, and go to Blending Options. In Blending Options, what you will see is a lot of different options. If you go to Outer Glow, now this is already not doing what I want because, oh, I know why it's doing that. Okay, cancel. Let me fix this really quick because it's doing an outer glow on even the extra stuff. So I'm going to delete. Yeah, I'm going to delete the extra here because when you have extra stuff like this, that will affect the glow as well. And so now what I have here, I go to Blending Options, and we can't really see it anymore, except for right there, but I'll fix that in a second. So the outer glow on my face can create more depth, but it's a little bit too much. So I can go in and I can change the opacity. I can also change the spread and the size to be a little bit smaller. I don't want it to like stick out that much. I want it to be very, very subtle, just subtly adding a bit of a darker glow around me. That way it helps separate me a little bit from the background, but it's not too noticeable where it's cartoonish and the whole thing still looks very, very professional, very, very streamlined. So now that I've gotten all of this together, I've made color adjustments to my face. I'm happy with the structure of the thumbnail. The object that is my face is clearly the most visible. I suppose I could sometimes I feel like I want to dampen the background a bit more, but I don't think I need to. My face is clearly the brightest spot, and I can always increase it just a bit more. So if I increase it just a little bit, don't want it to be that bright, but now it's just a bit brighter, right? And I can always go into hue and saturation and saturate it just a tiny bit more, but not too much. I can always increase the contrast just a little bit. And so now that we have this template, this base layer all built out and made, it's time to add, our text. And so what we can do very, very simply is we go down to the text tool and click and just add our text. And so do this now, or how about, and you don't want your text to be on the thumbnail to be exactly the same as what's in the title, right? You want to create that curiosity gap. So if I have a thumbnail that says, this is how I grew my YouTube channel very, very easily, I can do something like, it's actually easy, right? And then I can bring it down here. Or what about, let's see, what about this works every down time? Or I can get rid of this. And so this way, if my video is about a new method to growing your channel, I have works every time. Now I go over to the top here with the move tool. I can grab this and I can grow it. I can grow my text to be much larger and take up a bit more space. Now, you might not like how it's spaced out, and so there are ways to take care of that. But for now, what we can do is right click and again go to blending options and outer glow. This is very, very useful for just making your text stick out from the background, but you don't have to have these weird outlines or anything like that. And it actually stands out very, very nicely. And so then it's really just up to your personal taste, how you want it to work, how you want it to look. So this is very, very basic, very easy way to set up your thumbnail. The things that I've shown you here will allow you to help it look professional, help it look simple, and it's a great way to just have 3 letters, and it's very, very simple, right? You have a background, you have your face, which is brighter than the background, so it sticks out more, and my finger is pointing to 3 words that stand out relatively well. I'll show you guys later how to make them stand out even more, but this is more or less the basics, the beginnings of how to build the thumbnail, right? And so one of the things that I do is that I actually build out a whole thumbnail template where I will just set all of these to no view and turn all of this off. I will keep all of it down here so I can always turn it on and mix and match and move things around. But now what we're going to do is we're actually going to use this photo. This is a very messy photo. Suppose you don't actually have a background like I have. Suppose you're actually just at your desk staring at the wall with the window light coming through and just a desk lamp to light your face. How are we going to turn this photo into an actually presentable, actually nice thumbnail? Well, let me show you. Let's go through it. So again, we're going to unlock it Always got to hit unlock. We go to edit, copy, go over to our same thumbnail template. Remember, I just turned all of these things off, so it's not viewable. And I'm just going to paste it right on top and create a new layer. Now we have to go through the same thing, pull it down, move it up, and we're going to size it down until it fits within our thumbnail template. Still a bit too big. Now, what I'm going to do this time is actually, because last time we had a little bit of difficulty. So what you can do here is what we're going to do is we're actually going to make it fit directly into the template. We're not going to widen it out yet. This will actually make it a bit more convenient for you. You're going to right click on it and do duplicate layer. All right. And we're going to select this and select me as a person again. This time I'm getting the whole of me from the photo so that I don't have to worry about there being little extra edges that are filtered in after. Go to select and edit in quick mask mode. And so again, we go to zoom in and we're going to go take a look here. See, it didn't quite get this part of my arm. So now I'm going to take my eraser tool, which is now way too big, go up here, reduce the size. Going to reduce the size a lot more. And I can fill this in manually. Now, I know some of you might be thinking this is a lot of work. It is in the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, you kind of just get into the habit of doing all of these things. And, you know, what I'm doing here for you guys is basically just giving you a follow along template. Like if you just do this like every time, like it'll be a lot easier for you, right? I'm using the paintbrush to get back some of my beard to make sure that that's all clean. And all of these edges look good. I'm not losing too much. It's not cutting up. My ear's not cut off. Everything looks good. Now I can zoom back out. And it's a good selection now. So once again, we go up to select, turn off edit in quick mask mode, select inverse. So now it's selected all of this stuff around me here, right? And then I just hit delete on my keyboard. And as you will see, if I get rid of the first layer, this is all that's left. Always go up to and make sure you hit deselect. Otherwise, when you try to make your editing, it'll just start selecting all of that stuff. So now what we can do is we can hit shift and select the second layer. And now we can stretch both layers that we made out to sort of fit into my thumbnail template. I can bring myself over here. And this is going to look a lot better. So again, already we're starting to get the look and feel that we want. Now, the background here is not that flattering, right? We have a little bit of a curtain, we have my bed, we have a piece of the chair, we have a door. This is not fantastic, right? This is not great. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the background layer. What we're going to do is we're going to do what we did before. We're going to go to, actually what we're going to do is we're going to go to blur. And we're going to go down to Gaussian blur here. So you go to filter, blur, blur, Gaussian blur. And now this is already blur. Blurred a little bit. What we can do is it brings up this little box here and it actually shows us, we can adjust it to blur it as much as we want. So if your background is not that flattering and you don't really want it to be the focus of what people are seeing and what people are looking at, well, now we have the ability to blur it out and make it less blurry, right? I mean, less visible. And so this will help make sure that, you know, a lot of the less flattering things just kind of goes away into the background. Yeah, that'll do good for now. But then, say you have a lot of different colors, right? Ideally, what you would do is that you would go into your background and try to homogenize the colors, because now I have the difficulty of going through, okay, I got pink over here, I got yellow over here, I got blue over here, but don't worry. There's something we can do for that. We can actually go up. First, we're going to go up into Camera Raw Filter again, and we're actually going to desaturate it a bit. We're going to desaturate the background so that it doesn't stand out as much. We're going to desaturate it. We're going to reduce the exposure just a tiny bit. And make sure that everything is just less visible. So already now it's subdued and blurred a little bit, right? And so now what we can do is we can actually add a color balance to this, and again hit Option and anchor it to that layer. And we can sort of go through here and see, do we want to make it more red? Do we want to make it more purple? And we can kind of pull back some of these colors, especially if they're really, really blatant. We can sort of pull this back a bit, right? And so this is great because now it's just a bit more blurred. It's not standing out as much, and this is already way better than what we started with, right? So now we go up to, again, we're going to go up to my face. Now we're going to use just the Camera Raw filter this time because there's actually not that much to do. I'm going to increase the exposure a bit, increase the saturation, bring in the shadows, crush the blacks a little bit. Especially if you're crushed for time, this definitely works really, really well. I can increase my saturation a little bit to help me stand out a bit from the background, and I can increase the blue temperature to cut back on some of the white, the yellows. I can increase the vibrance. Go down to texture. I want to reduce texture just a little bit to make sure that my beard is not standing out too much. I can actually increase clarity to get some of the lines in my face, make sure that they're very, very visible. And then I can go down to noise reduction, kind of just smooth out the less flattering parts of my face and increase the sharpness a little bit so that now my face stands out a little bit more. It looks good, and now we have something for us to build our text into. And so now what we're going to do this time, so we're actually going to take a bit more of an advanced strategy to our text and making that stand out even more and making that look a little bit better, right? And so what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually make individual text blocks. And so we're going to do first works. And again, we're going to be done with that. And then we're actually going to start again and do every, and then we're going to make a new one, time, exclamation point, right? And so now we have these three text layers that we can adjust individually so that we can actually make the spacing exactly what we want it to be. And the cool thing about this is that there's something else that we can do that I'm going to show you. And so you have these these text blocks now, and you can constantly adjust them to fix their size. But one of the other cool things that you can do, if you go over to here and hit new layer, we're going to make a new layer, and we're going to put it below our time, layer here. Make sure the new layer is selected. We're going to go over here to the rectangular marquee tool. I'm actually going to go around it like this and select it like this. And now if I go to my paint bucket tool and I select a black color, boom, I have this black square outline for me. But what if I want it to be yellow? Let's change it up. Let's change this color. Let's go over here and click on the little color square. Change this color to yellow again. And then I can paint bucket. And now it's yellow. But what about, I can't see my thing. So what if I grab the text tool and I highlight my layer again and I highlight it and I go over here to the right and hit that color and make it black. And I hit OK. Whoops. And now, this is what we have. Works every time. And so you can kind of play with this as much as you want. And now hit deselect. And now what we could do is I can use my move tool. I can select this. I can move it around. Make sure that it fits what I want. And I can go down to layer 3 and I can make this bigger. I can make it smaller. I can really make sure that it fits with what I want. And when I'm done, I'm happy with the relationship of the text and the box. I can go to the time section. And again, this little box layer is right below it. What I can do is right click and I could do merge down. So now it's one layer. And so now I can move it around like this as much as I want. And then what I can do is I can right click on it again, go down to blending options and do outer glow and have it glowing a little bit. See that? And I can make adjustments to the glow and how it looks. And so now I have this thing here, and it's also, not only is it blocking out a lot of the unsavory parts of my background that I maybe didn't want to be in, but now I can have, I can do something different for each word. I can make it custom, right? And so what if I want works to be a little bit smaller? I'm going to put this up here, and I want works to only have a blending option. Outer glow, that works really well because it's smaller. And then what I can have here is I can go to every, right click, new layer. I'm going to drag it down below every. I'm going to take the marquee tool, select over it like this, have that selection. And now what I can do, say if I wanted to have a little bit of contrast, I could make the background black, right? And so now it stands out a lot more. And again, I'm already happy with the way that it's spaced out. So right click, merge down, and now I have this part that I can move. Just make sure to hit deselect. Deselect so we don't keep having that selection. But I can make this slightly bigger if I want to. I can grab this one and move it down. I can have this one right here. And again, right click, blending options, and I can create a little bit more of an outer glow here. And now suddenly I have, you know, quite a flattering thumbnail. It's very simple. The text is easy to read. The cluttered background is reduced. My face is brighter. The saturation looks good. It's a bit smoother. Now I can kind of go through here and again, make some adjustments. So if I hit Shift, I'm going to grab all three of these layers and I'm actually going to make myself a little bit bigger. Move this around. I think I want myself to be a bit bigger still. Just because I don't want, because the background here is not that flattering, right? So I'd rather have myself be bigger, the nice part be bigger. And then I can just grab each of these individually, say I want this. I have a lot of dead space over here, so what I can do is I can actually grow this out a little bit. Works and hit enter to solidify it. I can bring this out a little bit. And so yeah, this is a lot more flattering and a lot more serviceable than, you know, the original photo that we started with. It's all cluttered. It's got all this stuff in the background. It's got conflicting colors with different paintings and stuff at the background. Again, when you're planning this out, you are going to want to make sure that you have a planned out background similar to this one. This one was done on my phone, but if we were really thinking through this and trying to have everything, you know, be perfect, we can remove the blue painting and, you know, remove the paintings and just make sure that everything's there. Try to have a streamlined color palette. But if you're just getting started and this is the kind of background that you're working with, you can definitely turn it into something that is actually quite serviceable. It follows the rules of thumbnails, and you don't actually really have to be ashamed of that too much. So that is the completion of the beginning of my thumbnail tutorials. This is how I make very simple thumbnails very quickly. Again, it seems like a lot, but once you practice it a couple times, you're going to get the hang of it, and this won't take you any more than an hour to 30 minutes to build out these thumbnails, especially when you have your templates and your pictures of yourself already created, easily to be dragged and dropped in here. That'll make it so much more easy, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Make sure you click the link in the description and check out the course. I think it's really good. You guys are really going to like it. Get it now while it is still cheap, because it won't be cheap forever. And I will see you guys later. Peace.